my way to God. Author
Hossein Hilbert.
This part. Prayer. Prayer is the communication between the Creator of the universe and His servants. People pray to God, either directly, or through an intermediary, such as Christians, who turn to Jesus Christ or Santa Maria. In this case, no one can impose their opinion on others. People are free to act according to their wishes and preferences. I prefer direct communication. The importance of prayer should not be underestimated. Prayer is an important part of all religions. There has been scientific research on prayer for some time. I will only mention 2 studies. First research, the Japanese, Dr. Masaru Emoto, researched water crystals. After taking many photos, he proved that good and positive energies make water crystals beautiful and harmoniously organized, while bad and negative energies make water crystals ugly and disorganized. 2 of the photos show how the ugly and disordered crystals, after prayer in the same place, turn into very beautiful and harmoniously ordered crystals. With a simple Googling and looking at these amazing pictures, every person becomes thoughtful. Of course, this research is not new, and only a few people are unaware of it. It seemed necessary to me to remind them of this research here. The second study, whenever some people prayed for a sick person, the patient was healed faster. This test was repeated many times and the results were positive every time. The patients did not know about this prayer, otherwise one could attribute the faster healing to suggestion. I pray several times a day. My morning prayer begins with gratitude for another day that the good Lord has given me. Half of my prayer is in gratitude for God's blessing and favor. The other half is not for anything material, but for the health of my loved ones and for all people who need help and support. Apart from a few exceptions, one of which I will explain, all my prayers for myself and my loved ones have been answered. Sometimes, even in a miraculous manner. Years ago, I developed a severe skin lesion that extended from my forehead to the center of my head. The description of what happened next, which involved a general practitioner, 5 dermatologists, a radiologist, 2 laboratory pathologists, a great surgeon and an oncologist who was one of the best and most famous in his field, is too long. In short, after sampling from the scalp, the presence of two types of aggressive and malignant cells were detected. At my insistence, this test was repeated and reconfirmed by two laboratory pathologists without the slightest doubt. The oncologist wrote a long prescription for chemotherapy drugs and, due to the aggressiveness of the malignant cells, decided to start chemotherapy at the earliest possible time, that is, 3 days later, which was to last for 6 months. In addition, a large area skin transplant was to be performed, which, due to its complexity, was recommended by dermatologists to be carried out by a plastic surgeon. It was Sunday and 3 days later, that is, on Wednesday, I was due to attend my first chemotherapy session. I prayed in this situation. Not in a demeaning tone and pleading, but in complete calm, I said, "Dear God, you know very well that I have no problem with dying. But I have the feeling that my children still need me. Please heal me, if you think it's right. Preferably, without chemotherapy and surgery." This was a difficult operation due to the size and malignancy of the skin lesion. A few hours later, I remembered a doctor I had completely forgotten. Remembering him was a sign from God for me. The next day, I called the oncologist's office and cancelled the chemotherapy altogether. I have explained the details of what happened next in the book Cry My Dear. I was healed in a very simple and miraculous way, as I had prayed. Without chemotherapy, skin transplant, and other procedures such as radiotherapy etc., with the simple and cheap medicine. I know that some people, especially atheists, even after reading the book Cry My Dear, will look at my illness and cure with skepticism. But isn't it a fact that I should undergo chemotherapy and skin transplantation? And the merciful Lord healed me through my prayer and faith? Some of my prayers were not answered because my request was wrong and resulted in harm to myself or my loved ones. In this context, I would like to mention just one example. Years ago, my mother got jaundice. I prayed that it was viral, because it could be treated with medication, and did not require surgery. After my mother's doctor saw the results of her test, he said, "Thank God that the jaundice is obstructive." I said, "Why thank God? If the jaundice had been viral, it could have been treated with medication, but now she has to undergo surgery, which is dangerous, because my mother has lost a lot of weight, and is very weak." Her doctor said, given your mother's age and physical condition, she would have no chance of survival, if the jaundice was viral, but gallbladder surgery is a simple operation and she will have no problems. The open surgery went well and my mother regained her full health after the recovery period. Sometimes it is a blessing not to get what we want. I feel the presence of the merciful Lord always and everywhere. That's why I don't need a special place to pray. Usually, people prefer to pray in the religious centers of their religion. Some people feel closer to the merciful Lord in other places, for example, on the top of the mountain, by the sea, in nature, etc. I have never prayed, nor will I pray, that the Lord forgive the sins I have committed against others, but I have always asked that He punish me for my sins, even if the person I have wronged has forgiven me. If the loving God forgives me, instead of punishing me for the wrongs I have done to others, what becomes of God's justice? In other words, how can I praise God's righteousness much, but ask Him to violate His righteousness by forgiving a sinner like me? Often our small and big wishes are fulfilled without prayer. I mentioned 2 cases about me. Although the first case seems unimportant, it shows the Lord's attention to all His servants. The first case: one day I went home after my 2-hour run. I was hungry and wanted to make an omelette, because I hadn't prepared anything for dinner. I don't know why I suddenly felt like eating rice with game sauce, without smelling it. At that moment, a white Pride car suddenly came towards me as if it was going to run me over. I pulled to the side. The driver braked right next to me. The lady, sitting next to him, handed me a disposable container and said, "That was the last one, which was apparently meant for you." I took it and thanked her. The food had cooled, and I couldn't detect any aromas. I opened it out of curiosity. The rice, with game sauce, looked good. A few minutes later, I poured it onto a plate at home, and heated it up in the microwave. It was perfect, and tasty, just as I wanted it to be. Maybe it happened, because I never waste food, and consider any waste a sin. Case 2: on a sad Sunday evening, I was alone in the dormitory of the College of Munich. It was my birthday and I was melancholy. I didn't feel like going out alone, reading books or listening to classical music, which I love. At that moment, in keeping with my mood, I remembered an Iranian song that had been given to me, among other things, when I came to Germany. I switched on the tape recorder and listened to it. The text of one part of the poem read, "Whoever I saw has a lover, but I don't. When night falls, I have no lighted house. I will go to God and cry out. O God, I have no heart of iron. I have no lover and compassionate here." This poem, and his sad song, made me even more melancholy. I said, "Oh God, this is the worst birthday of my life." A few moments later, someone knocked on the door of my room with their fingers. I said, "Please come in." It was one of the boys from the dormitory. His name was Saeed, and he wasn't one of my friends. He said, "Mr.
Hilbert,
5 girls are on their way here, so we can go for a walk and have a drink. We are 4 boys." I knocked on the door of some friends, but none of them were home. I was just about to leave, when I heard a song coming from your room. If you like, come with us. I said, thanks, I'll get changed straight away and come. When I came out of my room after a quick change, I saw Saeed and 3 of his friends, who all lived in our dorm. They were standing outside the elevator waiting for me, so we could all go to see girls together. As we left the door of the dormitory building, 5 girls came up to us about 20 meters away, and stopped when they saw us. Saeed jokingly told them, "Boys always pick up girls, this time, it's the other way around. You are very welcome." 3 of the girls were Iranian. One of them was Saeed's girlfriend, who brought the rest of the girls with her. The other 2 girls were German. One of these 2 girls was very beautiful, had a good figure and an innocent, graceful face. I started a conversation with this girl, earlier than others, and we stayed together, until the end of the evening. Her name was Christian. After a short walk, we went to a cafe, sat down at a large table and started talking. Christian sat next to me. It had been some time since we had talked, when I said to her, "What a good night. Today is my birthday." Christian raised her glass and announced loudly, "Today is Hossein's birthday." Everyone raised their glasses, wished me a happy birthday and drank to my health. After about 2 hours, we boys accompanied the girls to their dormitory. Christian had given me her phone number and room number. She became my first girlfriend in Munich. I thanked God for turning my worst birthday into my best birthday, especially because I now had a beautiful and friendly lover.